Having said that, let's try and dive into what would be a keynote address. I think together we should develop the keynote, which will provide the track for our special speakers today, our special guest Mr. Khalil Shibri, to develop his thoughts and present his perspectives. I think it would not be wrong to say that emigration is not a new phenomena for this world. Immigration began, right, with Adam and Eve themselves. They immigrated from up there to down here. Of course, not voluntarily, but that was the first migration. And incidentally, on that one, sometimes we come across very interesting theories at the United Nations, and I'll share one of those with you. It is being said in the corridors that if Adam was Chinese national, listen to this, if Adam had been a Chinese national, we will all be in heaven today. We won't be here. Why? Because he would have swallowed the snake instead of eating the apple. But on the other hand, he did what he ended up doing, what the devil succeeded in making him do, and as a result of which they descended on earth. Now, they came to earth, of course, involuntarily, but they joined the community of all creations. So very powerful creations on this earth. Dinosaurs, lions, tigers, elephants, mountains, rivers, and so forth. All of them constituted the universe, at least the world on the universe. Homo sapien joined them as yet another element of creation. But look what they were all, of course, born and bred and developed in the world itself. So they were sort of pretty comfortable. But Adam and Eve came as immigrants. And because they came as immigrants on this earth, look what they ended up doing today. I mean, compared to the work of all other creations on earth, what Homo sapien has done is right in front of you. You are a part of it. This, then, is one of the key elements that immigrants bring to a new land. There is a sociological explanation, and maybe there may be a few more, but the one that I've come across is that freed from their communal, familial, and other local constraints, immigrants develop sort of an air of freedom when they come to a new land. And they end up doing in lesser time what they will take much longer and with more resources to do the environment of which they were a part. So it's not entirely surprising that countries like the United States were not only founded in the personality that they now are, but they developed very, very fast, faster than the inhabitants of the land, because they were immigrants, because they were freed from the communal and familial and other constraints and environments. And they were able to do things, and they ended up doing things that they would not ordinarily be able to do in their own situations. We have heard from our very distinguished speakers a little while ago of all the good things and the great achievements that Pakistani American community are continuing to do in this country as individuals. And from what I see in this particular situation, one which I was in before just I came here, and numerous other events of this nature that have started taking place. That the day is not far when inshallah the community will develop a greater sense of unity within itself, combine its resources, and be able to do much, much more without being told to do more that they are doing today. We have heard what Pakistani Americans have been doing in the field of business, in the academic world, in the medical profession, and so forth. Let me add to this, that in the United Nations, I'm happy and proud to tell you what my observation is, that the Pakistan delegation has been one of the most proactive, authoritative, and confident delegations that one comes across, and as a result of which some earth-shaking decisions that otherwise would not have eventuated, at least within the duration that they did, have taken place. Going back into history, I mean more contemporary history, recent history, the independence of Libya and the other factors that went towards developing both confidence and creativity among the Muslims of North Africa is largely due to the role that Pakistan played at that time in the creation of the independent movement, in the encouragement of the independent movement that led to the creation of the countries in North Africa that you see today. Similarly, at the time of the creation of Ghana, Pakistan was a very, very new country, newly independent country in the Commonwealth. And yet, it is stated sort of time and again by the people of Ghana that the role of Pakistan, both in the Commonwealth and in the United Nations, was instrumental in giving that country the kind of resources that it eventually sort of acquired. There are numerous examples of this nature in the annals of United Nations. You find that in peacekeeping operations, Pakistan is in the forefront of of several other developing countries, not only developing but even developed countries, and has developed the capacity and the competence with which Pakistan is called upon time and again to assist the United Nations in different peacekeeping operations as they develop. This is not the fortune of several other countries, including the giant neighbors in our neighborhood. So this being the case, it's not surprising again that that in New York we should have the kind of creativity that we are seeing in PACE, and I think that it would be useful to try and develop a kind of closer linkage between here and the activists who are working in Pakistan in collaboration with entities like this one, to try and see whether our collective resources cannot do more than what is already being done to press the country into an accelerated pace of development, especially now that pace is being advanced by more recent processes, especially the one started with the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. I'm sure that our Consul General and his office will be able to assist anyone who wants to invest in Pakistan or who is seeking opportunities to go and assist in Pakistan with their competence and their capabilities in accelerating that pace of advancement. But one particular device I wanted to share with you very quickly before I end my role. In the United Nations, back in 1980s, we established an activity which was known as TOC10, TOKTEN. Does anyone remember or know what TOC10 is? All right. TOC10 stands for Transfer of Knowledge through Expatriate Nationals. Transfer of Knowledge through Expatriate Nationals. Under that program, expatriate nationals, nationals of developing countries who are now in advanced countries, Pakistanis in America and Germany and so forth, for instance, were given the opportunity to render their services to Pakistan without disrupting or disturbing their activities here in America. For 2 months, 3 months, whatever time they could spare, surgeons, doctors, academics, engineers, you name them in their own field of competence, wherever they are needed in Pakistan, with the support of the United Nations Development Program, some facilities were provided, and the individuals were able to go under a prepared program and deliver their services and make a lasting impact. There have been numerous examples of heart surgeons, nuclear scientists, social scientists, people concerned with areas of governance, library sciences, and so forth. I can mention that. So that opportunity is there, and those of you who are interested in offering your services for 2-3 months, a modest compensation is provided together with airfare and subsistence, and arrangements certainly can be explored for you. This is a thought which I wanted to share with you basically. And now I think that collectively we have stricken the keynote of the role of immigrants, and particularly Pakistani immigrants in America, and how far they can go. And on this one, I'm sure that we have a great deal to hear from the wisdom of our special guest, Mr. Khalil Shibli. Thank you so much.